Let's begin with this new seminar promoted by CYPE. This important seminar that is the launch of the 2024 version of CYPE software. Welcome to this seminar. Thank you for your assistance. My name is Afonso Solac. I'm civil engineer and I work as Chief Digital Marketing Officer here at CYPE. I'll be here today with you sharing a little bit about this new version that is very complete. Okay, so I hope you can hear me well. I hope if you please could send me a message through the chat to confirm that, I would thank you. Before we begin this presentation, let me tell you that we are recording this presentation. Very soon this recording, it will be also available in our YouTube channels and our video gallery in our website. So if you have any doubt or you want to repeat any part of this presentation, you can find this information sooner in our channels. Okay, you can also contact me here through the chat option that you have in your GoToWebinar panel. So you can send me a message if you want. We have more people of our team together here in this transmission, trying to answer your questions, writing these answers. But if we don't have enough time to answer everything today, we'll be contacting you by mailing after. So feel free to contact us through the chat option at any time. Okay. My idea here today is share with you a little bit this new features. Usually the version A of one of our softwares, it's very complete. This year is not different. We have 63 different new features in all the areas, all the disciplines of CYPE software, from architectural softwares through structural analysis softwares, MEP, and project management. During this presentation, I confess that I selected 13 of them because there is a lot to show here. But we also prepared more webinars like this with more specific topics to keep showing these new features, because there's too many information to show in just one section. Okay, so the idea today is to share most of them, or maybe most of the more important features of let me see here, 8 or 9 different applications. And then I will share with you also the agenda with the other seminars where we'll keep showing the other features. Okay, so to begin, I would like to show you here just this web page where you can find an index, a list of the new features that were implemented in this version. So to access this list, it's very easy. Just have to come here to the solutions menu in our web page and go to the new features area. Okay, here in the new features option, you have a list of all the previous versions that we have been publishing during the past months, and the 2024 version it's also here. Okay, so you can click on this button or click here and you can access the list of new features that we've implemented recently. Okay, of course, this list it's very extensive. At any moment, we will come back here to the list to show any other detail from this list too, but I will try to show most of them, opening the applications, navigating in the softwares, and then showing the new buttons, new menus, new options inside of each application. Okay. I would like also to share with you that we have a new option here in the training tab. Okay, in the training menu in our website, this option here, that is the courses and seminars menu, where you can find other presentations like this, or on-site workshops and self-study courses where you can learn a little bit more about CYPE software, learn how to use other applications that we have in our ecosystem. So feel free to navigate to inspect this part of our website and discover a little bit more about our solutions. Okay, here in the presentation schedule, you find both online and presential presentations. Okay, and you can filter by the type and also the language of these presentations. For example, here in English, we can see that we are launching the software today in this presentation, but during the next days, you have one specific webinar just focused on the solutions to concrete drainage systems and retaining walls. Okay, part of the new features that we'll see here today will be also be part of this seminar. Then we'll have one specific to CYPELEC. It means to electrical systems. We also see a little bit today, but in this seminar on 15th of June, it's going to be more complete. And then we'll have another one specific for steel detailing with the tools that we have to this part. So StruBIM steel, CYPE3D, CYPE Connect. We'll have a specific seminar for that. Okay, so they are all for free. You just have to come here, register here, and then come back to see the content during the presentation, because it's going to be live. Okay, so let's begin with our first new features. The first new feature I would like to show to you, it's related, actually it's a common feature that is related to all the applications that we have. Okay, maybe you already know, but if you don't know yet, CYPE have an ecosystem with different applications, different little tools that can be connected between them. So it means that I can install different applications like I have here in my computer now, and I can send information from one application to another. For example, a common situation is send information from my architectural model to my structural analysis program, and use the information from my architectural model to run an analysis in the structural analysis software. So this kind of interoperability, or this act of sending and receiving information, we can do it using a platform, a cloud platform. It's a cloud server that is called BIMserver.center. Okay, this is the name of this platform. It's a free platform where you can just create your account. There is no limit of space. You can just use it as the cloud server that will be connecting different applications that you have, or you can also use it to connect with different people that are using the CYPE ecosystem. So you can have a kind of team, a multi-collaborative project where you can send information from your software to the cloud, from the cloud to another software, and connect different agents of the related to your project. Okay, one of the features that we have in this version is that we improved the way that the softwares connect with this platform. Okay, so I will create a little example here, parting from CYPE architecture. CYPE architecture is our software to create architectural models, as the name say. It's a 3D modeler, a BIM modeler. And when we create a new project here at CYPE architecture, the first panel, the first window that we have is this one here, that is related to the connection that I can have with the platform. If I want, I can start working with this new file that I'm creating here at CYPE architecture already connected to the platform. So I just have to maintain this option here, click it or check it. Okay, so we'll be working linked to the BIMserver.center project. Here I will add my credentials, the credentials that I have from the platform. So just login and a key. And then I have two options. I have the option to select a project that I already created before in the platform, or I can create a new project where probably this file that I will create here at CYPE architecture is going to be the first file from this project. Okay, I have two options. And I also have another option, that is this one here, that is a new feature to configure, to set the place where the backups, the local backups of the files that I will be sending through the cloud will be also saved in my computer. So here I can select the folder from my computer where I would like to save the IFC files, DXF files, DWG files, PDF files, GLTF files that will be produced, that will be exported from the software I am working now. So these backups, or these copies of these files, they will be saved in this path here, this directory. Okay, so you can select it. This is part of the new feature that was implemented in this version. This new window is also with a new design. Actually, these features here of select or create a new project, they were available since the beginning of the software. The design here, it's a little bit more modern. And the main new difference here is that now you don't need to install a complementary application that was necessary in the previous versions that was called BIMserver.center sync from synchronizer. Okay, so it was necessary to install a kind of secondary tool that was always available here near the clock, okay, of your Windows system. That now it's not necessary. All the softwares now, they have an autonomous way to connect with the platform. So you don't need this secondary plugin, let's say, that is a kind of complement, because all the softwares already have this system implemented inside of the software. Okay, so don't worry if you install one of the softwares that is from the 2024 version and don't find the synchronizer, because now it's not needed anymore. So just start working with the software and answer the questions that are asked here during the start of a project. Okay, in this case, to show you some more new features related to that, I will select one of my projects. Okay, so in this moment, CYPE architecture is connecting to BIMserver.center, and I can see here all the projects that are related to my profile at BIMserver.center. Okay, you can see that some of them are in bold, so in bold in blue color. Some of them are in bold in black color. Okay, and the difference is that those that are in blue, they are mine. Okay, there are projects where the owner, it's me. Okay, so my name is Afonso, and I can see that this project, which the name is Warehouse, the owner is Afonso. And in this case, there is another project that is called Casa Rudin. The owner is Rocio. Okay, so we can see the difference here. I can also filter and select and show just the projects that I've created before. Okay. One new feature, very nice, that we have here, it's that now we have more information of the softwares available here in the software. Actually, this information was always available at the platform. If you navigate through your internet browser, you can also find this kind of information. But here in the desktop version of this section of BIMserver.center inside of the software, this information now it's also available, and you can see that some of these projects were evaluation projects, some of these projects are educational projects, some are professional projects, some of them are not visible, some of them are visible to all users, depending on the setup that I made when I created the project before. Okay. One new feature that is very nice here is this little button here that is used to inspect the content of this project here in the desktop version of the BIMserver.center, let's say that. So if I click here, I can see all the files that were uploaded to this project, where they were uploaded, the size of these projects. And for example, in this project that I just opened, I can see that I have 7 different contributions. Okay, so a terrain, then I have here a kind of MEP installation, another one related to electricity. I have here some drawings, I have here the structural model, I have here another plumbing installation, and the architectural model. Okay, and inside of each one of these contributions, I can see that I have different files. For example, in the architectural model, I have here some DWG files, I have here some PDF files, I will have the IFC, that is the main file somewhere, and I have different other files that are related to this contribution. So what is exactly a contribution? It's a group of files that is related to one of the disciplines that I have been working. So when I created the architectural model of this project and exported this architectural model from CYPE architecture to BIMserver.center, I've generated different files related to the architectural model. Not just the IFC file, but also some other files that can be used for different purposes. could be a final file as a PDF with a report of the, I don't know, the building envelope, like is in this case, or some complementary files necessary to connect CYPE architecture with other softwares from the ecosystem of BIMserver.center. Okay, and the same situation is going to be with other other contributions that will have different numbers of files and different sizes, of course. This is very useful because here, if you are working in a team, you can come here, click on this option here, and order the list by the last change. So you can keep, you can see how this, when were the last changes of a specific contribution that maybe was created by a colleague. So here it's a easy way to look that. And of course, you always can go to the platform or open your mobile phone and see what is happening in your project. But now you also have this option here inside of each software. Okay. All right, so let's close it. We'll just select one of these projects because the main purpose it was to select a project. I just stopped it here showing these new features. So I'll select this guy here, that is the building one or the townhouse. Let me see the townhouse, for example. It was an empty project. And here, when I select this project, I can see all the contributions that are available to import into CYPE architecture now. So I can select one or maybe more contributions, or even not selecting any contributions because maybe I'm creating something, departing from an empty project. So it depends on the software I am now, or the aim that I have to this project. So I can select these contributions or not. Let's imagine in this case I don't have to select nothing because I'm just starting the project. And then the interface of CYPE architecture will be running and ready to start working with this 3D model in this case. Okay. Let me jump to another project. Actually, it's the same project, but let's advance a little bit in the time. Let's imagine that the project is a little bit more advanced. So in this case, I have the model created here. I also can, for example, deactivate the different parts of my architectural model in this case, and you can see here that I have let me deactivate everything actually, for example, and here I can see that I have all the other contributions that I've imported, for example. So here I can see the structure created with CYPECAD. I can see different installations that were created with CYPELEC and CYPELUMBIM. I can see the terrain created with OpenBIMsite. Okay, and this information is also available here because maybe could be interesting to know what is happening with the other disciplines, because maybe I am the BIM manager of this project, or I'm the BIM coordinator, or I'm just the architect that I'm looking for the other disciplines to see if it's everything okay, if everything is on the place where they should be. So this option is now available here, and here we have options to access the same information that we have been looking before when we started the project. So if I click in the name of the project, I can see the main informations of this project, but I also can open the table of the contributions, the same table that we saw before. Okay, but this is from a perspective from inside of the software. When you are already working with the software, you don't have to start a new project to see this information. You just have to have this option to consult the status of your contributions by clicking on the name of this contribution here in this corner of the main window. And you can also click in your name. In here you can log out and, for example, log in with a different user, or you can also again change the position, the folder where the files will be stored, the same way that we saw before, but it's now also available here. Okay. When you export something here, you just have to share. It's going to be the same that was before. You select a name. Actually, here I have a problem with this name. It's not architectural. Now it's okay. So you can select the files you export. Here, for example, this according to this selection, those complementary files that I said before, they will be exported or not according to the checks that you mark here. So it's how those complementary files are generated. It's when you use the option share and then select the options that are here. Okay. All right, so this was one of the new main features that we have. As I said before, this is common to all softwares. You see the same situation at CYPECAD, at CYPE3D, at StruBIM Steel, CypConnect, Acrobat, CYPELEC, CYPELUMBIM, CYPETERM. Every software that work in this BIM environment have this system. It's quite similar, okay? In most of them, you find the button of BIMserver.center platform here in this corner and the projects here. In CYPECAD and CYPE3D, we'll see in the main menus, but in a few minutes we'll open the software so I can show you where they are located too. Okay. Talking a little bit more about BIMserver.center, before we start showing the new features of other softwares, let me jump to BIMserver.center for a while. So this is my dashboard, the main dashboard of BIMserver.center. And here you can see 3 folders, okay? So here I can see my projects. Here I can see my contributions. It means each time that I click on the share button and send this contribution to BIMserver.center, one new item will be created inside of this this folder. And I also can see here those projects that were created by someone and where I were invited to work with them. Okay, so these are the 3 types of these 3 groups of files that we have here at BIMserver.center. Projects I've created, my contributions to different projects, could be a project that I've created or not, and those projects where I was invited to work. Okay, shared projects. One new feature that we have here at BIMserver.center, I think it's very nice. It's the option to work as a company. Okay, so this environment, this interface I'm showing to you, it's the interface of a user, a professional. So this is me, Afonso, as a civil engineer working to this in these projects. But we also have a version that is the BIMserver.center Corporate, where a company can create an account. Here we have 3 accounts that we've created before to work as CYPE. And here there are special features to companies. Okay, so if you are working as a company, you wanna manage the things that you have that work in a BIM environment, maybe this is the option to you. My idea is not to show these features today, because actually here we have 1 hour or a little bit more to explore everything that we have here. But I think it's nice to share with you that we have this option that is special for companies. Just you can create your account here, and then you can link the professionals that are using the BIMserver.center, normal BIMserver.center, let's say that, the conventional BIMserver.center, to the BIMserver.center corporate account. Okay, so this is one of the new features that we have here. All right, so let's come back to the softwares. I will start here now with the red section. It means the softwares for structural design. Okay, so the first new feature I would like to share to you is related to CYPECAD. Okay, CYPECAD, that is our software to design reinforced concrete structures. For example, we can also design here steel structures or even wooden structures, since they are created in frames. Okay, so framed structures can be analyzed or designed with this software. It's maybe one of the most famous softwares that we have. It's also one of the we have the software for a long time ago. And one of the new features that we have here, actually we have a lot of them here, it's just in CYPECAD, but one that I think it's the most interesting, it's this new option that we have here, this little button, that is the option to introduce, analyze, and design ramps. Okay, we can create different types of ramps, size these ramps also, have all the details, the reports of these ramps, and it's now available since 2024A version here at CYPECAD. Okay, so this option, it's available here in the BIM definition, and to activate this option, you must have different levels in your project. So when you are working in the column definition, you must create here using these options to add groups or add floors. Okay, you must have at least 2 floors to then start working with a ramp. Okay, if you just have 1 floor, it's impossible to have a ramp. Okay, so if you see this option blocked or in a gray color, it means that you don't have created your levels or your floors. Okay, so in this case, I already created different levels to this structure here. I'm working in the floor 1. Okay, and if I click here, I can see different options related to this new model. Okay, so this is actually a new model. It's not just a simple function or a simple feature. It's actually a whole model. So you must have the code to activate this model in your license if you want to work with this new ramp system. So you must check with your sales contact to include this model in your CYPECAD to work with it. Okay, how it works? Actually, it's quite simple. We have here different options to create a new ramp core. You can edit a ramp core that was created before. You can delete a ramp core. You can also then move a ramp core that was previously introduced somewhere in our structure, rotate, and once you have the geometry and the position of this ramp, then you can get the details, the steel details in this case, and also view the displacements, forces, and required areas, do shear using contour plots. Okay, we'll try to see everything in one example. I already created one ramp here, but I will create a new one just to show you how it works. Okay, so to create a new ramp, I'll click here, and we'll have this new windows here. Okay, let me close this one. Let's begin with the first option, that is add a reference to this ramp. For example, this is going to be my ramp. Let's add a name, my new ramp, for example. Okay, and here I have different ways to add ramps. The first option that I have is just add a simple ramp. Okay, to do that, I will define a width, so some geometry information, width, and the rotation of this ramp in case I have a curved ramp, which could be to the left or to the right. I can also define some lateral loads and live loads. Okay, but then actually what I need to do is to add different spans. The minimum is going to be 1 span, just a linear ramp, straight span, but I can also combine different spans and create a more complex ramp. Okay, so let's start creating that. So for example, this flight could be one flight or could be repeated, so I can have equal consecutive flights, a number of equal consecutive flights. For example, maybe I have 4 floors, 4 levels in my building, so maybe I can add here 4 times the same flight. They will be in the same position but in different flights. Okay, and here when I create, I can create this the geometry of these flights. Okay, for example, I can create, as I said before, just one element, so one of these pieces of my flight that could be a straight flight or a curved flight. Okay, so this straight flight would be a length. Actually, it's the projection of this length on plan. Okay, so 5 meters would be this projection here, And then I can define the slope of this flight using two options. I could define here, for example, this slope in a percentage, for example, 20% here. If I define 20% here and it's 5 meters, so I will have a changing level of 1 meter. Okay, if I change it to 10%, I will have 0.5 meters. Okay, so we have this information here to help us to calculate the difference between levels once we introduce this data here. But we have also this option here that is introduce the height or the distance between levels that we want to cover with this this part of the ramp. So if I put here 2 meters, for example, will have 2 meters. As I have 5 meters in length, my slope is going to be 40%. That is too much for sure. Okay. If we work with a curved option, we'll have some other options here, like how many degrees we want to have in this curve. For example, 45 degrees, or as it was before, 90 degrees. Also, we can define the inner radius here. Okay, 5 meters or 2 meters or 10 meters. Okay, so here we can define this kind of information, and then we'll have the same options here to define how the height or the slope will be introduced in the software. Okay, it's the same situation. Okay, once we define this part, we can accept it. Okay, and then we will create this span, this first span. Okay, we can duplicate these spans and use the same information again. Okay, if you want. And combine it. But we also, inside here, we have another option that I didn't show it before. That is the option, these were the predefined shapes, straight and curved, but we also have here the free shape. So the free shape, it's quite similar, but here we can create a list of flights and combine it here, and then have a resultant ramp, let's say that. Let me show you one example. Here we can define, for example, the thickness or the depth of this slab, for example, 20 centimeters. And then I will add a first element here that could be, for example, I have here some numbers that I have been doing before. Let's create this first one as a straight flight. That's going to be 3 meters long, with an elevation change of, let me see how I have, 0.5 meters, okay? And let's add some supports on the lateral, left and right laterals of the ramp. For example, could be without a support, concrete wall, support on the lower or in the higher floor. For example, let me add some concrete wall in both sides, okay? This is the width of the concrete wall. So I have this first piece of my ramp. Then I will do the same. I will duplicate this guy. So I have a second element here, the first and the second. And the second I will change it, and I will change it for a curve one. Okay, this is gonna be 90 degrees. And I will add here, for example, 2 meters, the inner radius. Okay, and I work with elevation of 0.95. Okay, 95, for example. And I will have the same situation. I will have here concrete wall, and I will have this situation. The first one that was a straight, I will duplicate it, okay? And we'll have the third one, okay? The first, then the third. But the third one, I will change, for example, the length. 3 meters maybe is too much. I'm just changing here some data just to show you how it works. I will change it to, for example, 1 meter, okay? And the elevation change is going to be it's almost flat, just 10 centimeters. Concrete wall, and I have this little piece here. This guy, I would like to create like a U here, to come from here and turn 180 degrees and come back, for example, okay? So this second element, I will duplicate again, and then I have an exact one here. And the first one I will duplicate again, and I have that one, okay? And now I can see the result here. So I have a changing level of 3 meters. Okay, if I delete one of them, I have 202.5. Okay, so let's put it again, and I have 3 meters. And if we open one of them, exactly here we have a 0.5 meter. That is the difference between these two situations that I showed before. Okay, so it's very easy to create this combination of flat slabs, or these combinations of flights. Okay, you can also move the position of these flights here and combine it if you want. Okay, so if you add one of them in one specific position and then would like to change it, there is no problem. You can use these blue arrows to change the list and create the geometry of your ramp here. Okay, if I accept the ramp, it's going to be here, and then I can accept it, and I have the ramp available to be introduced in my structure. Okay, of course I must think before where the loads of this ramp will be located, because for example, maybe I will need some supports somewhere, or a beam in the base of this, the points at which the ramp connects with the main structure. Okay, we can, for example, I don't know, for example, I made one similar here, but I'll create a new one here. So for example, let's imagine I would like to put it here, and I can also now, once I define a first anchor point, let's say that, I can define the rotation of this ramp core. Okay, if I use this button here, that is the orthogonality, I can have more precise introduction according just to the main angles, 0, 90, so the main angles, and then just click to confirm and introduce this ramp. Okay, so it's quite easy to add a ramp. If we go to the 3D view, we can now see how it's represented in a 3D environment. Here I have those two ramps that I've been working before. Okay, so we selected with wall in both sides. So here we can see the wall, and we can see that the geometry was introduced, well introduced here in our structure. Okay, something that we can do here with this element, we can open the ramps menu again, and as I said before, we can, for example, edit this information. Let's imagine that we want to change one of this data. We just open here and start working, changing the information that we want. Okay, no problem, very easy. So just open and edit whenever you need. That's using that button, it's very easy. We can also delete one of the ramp cores at any moment, or we can move this guy. Okay, move in here for the place we want, or rotate this guy to the position that we want. Okay, nice. So actually, until this point, we were introducing the ramp, we were modeling the ramp. Okay, so we can see that these five first options, they are used to model the ramp core. Then we have these other two buttons. I will start with this guy here before that is related to the forces and the displacements. So if I click here and then click in the core, we will have a ramp design. The ramp design will start. The software will start designing this ramp. So it's going to be very, very fast. Actually, we can have all the results in just some seconds, as you can see. And here we'll have some information related to the analysis. Okay, the interface here is quite similar to that interface that we have to the whole structure when we analyze all the other elements, like the beams, the slabs, the columns. It's quite the same system here. So here you can see the deformed shape, for example. We can add here, for example, a scale factor, like, I don't know, if I increase a lot here, I can see this displacement a little bit more. Okay, I can change the colors I'm using here in the scale, because actually the values that I have to the parameter or the results I'm selecting here, we can see the values in this bar here. So in this case, the deformed shape goes to 0.04 to 0.35 millimeters. So in the middle of the slabs, we have, as was expected, more displacements. But I can also change for contour plots like this. So yeah, it's quite nice to see like this. It's maybe a little bit easier to understand. And when we change to contour plots, we have different results that we can see here. For example, in this case, we are looking to the total displacement, but could be, for example, just the displacement in the z-x, for example, or just in the x direction, or the rotation in one of these specific axes. Okay, we can also select here and see the different forces, for example, the axial in different axes, or the moment in one specific axis, for example, in Y, or total shear, for example, here. And there's one option that is quite interesting that is related to the checks. So here, when we design a ramp that require steel area due shear forces, we can see it here. In this case, in this ramp, I don't have any problem with that, so no reinforcements will be needed. But in case of my ramp needed, I could see here by the scale how much of steel rebars area would be needed to guarantee the safety of the structure, and then I should provide these reinforcements in the places where I see here in this kind of in this map, no, in this graph. Okay. Of course, all this data, it's for one specific load case. So could be the self weight, the dead load, or the live load. So I can work with these parameters to see how the results are, which is the behavior of the results of our analysis here. Okay. Coming back to the design option here, we also have this button. This button is to view the details of this ramp. The ramp was analyzed. So one of the main features of CYPECAD is to design, analyze, and provide all the results that are necessary to construct this structure. In the case of ramps, it's similar. It's the same situation. So first here we have a table. This table with general data from this ramp, flight 1, the width, thickness, inner radius, angle, average slope. We have here the resume of the loads. So here we have the loads and also the materials that were used. Here we have the a plan view, so of the geometry of this slope, and here we have a detail of the rebars that are necessary to construct this ramp. As you can see here, that little piece that we've created, we can see here the difference. So this almost flat part of our ramp, probably that's not the best solution. Probably when we design a ramp, we should try to have the same slope in every pieces of this ramp. I confess that I was creating this model and this is not the best combination, but it's very useful to understand how it works. Okay, I think it's important to show you that here there are 3 sections, so it's why I've created this little piece here. And we can also see the sections here, section BB, FF, CC, EE, and D, and these sections are also represented here. So here we have BB, CC, DD, EE, FF, because AA, it's actually the section that is in this blue line coming from here, going until there, and is actually this guy here. Okay, so everything here is detailed. Of course, this information could be included in your drawings, could be exported in DWG, DXF, PDF. You can send it to your plotter, you can send it to an CAD software to keep working with that. Okay, here you can see how powerful is CYPECAD, because just adding this geometry, actually the software designed it, analyzed it, generated all the information, and we could also open the reports to analyze the checks of it. Okay. All right, this is just one of the new features. I know there is a lot of things here. I said before that we have around 13 to 15 to show today. We saw just 2 or 3, so you can see how powerful is this version. So let's keep going. The next one is also related to CYPECAD. I will not show all the details of that, but let me show you what is that. So let me come back here to our list of new features, and we have this guy here, the punch and shear studs. So this kind of options are now also available at CYPECAD. When you have this punching situation, you now can design this at this kind of reinforcement with these studs to provide a solution to this punching shear forces. Okay, we could have something that like this in all the faces of a column, but maybe we can have some situation like this. And here it's very nice to see this detail that we can see all the rebars of the flat slab, also how the rebars of the column arrives here in this connection part, and also we have this reinforcement or this shear punching shear studs reinforcing this area. Okay, to introduce that, we have a special menu to configure these studs. Okay, and we can also select the studs from a brand that is called PECO. So here you can use this little button here that is called Open BIM Database, where you can just log in there and download the information from PECO with the studs that are available in their catalog. So we have been talking with them, creating here a partnership where the PECO elements now are available here at CYPECAD. This connection with the Open BIM database, it's not actually something new. We have more situations like that in our ecosystem. When we create different type of slabs in CYPECAD, we also have options to download the materials to these slabs with the Open BIM database. And I will show some more examples like this in other softwares in a few moments, where we have other connections with the Open BIM database. Okay, I'm sorry that I will not show all the details about this because it's really we need more 15 or 20 minutes to show one full example. Maybe in some days we can publish a tutorial or some video showing how to work with that. Although it's very simple, you just have to select the materials as we made the ramp, and then analyze the software will practically do everything to you. Okay, let's keep going with reinforced concrete structures. In this case, there are more features of CYPECAD. For example, we implemented, let me show you here the list. Let's come back here to the new features. We have a lot of new codes that were implemented at CYPECAD in this version. Some wind load codes, some seismic codes. Let's open here the list. And in this link that I've shared before in the chat, you can find it. You can also find it. But somewhere here in this part, implementing codes and improvement their enforcement. So we have the new Spanish structural code Código Estructural that was implemented in StruBIM shear walls. But then we have here also this new code also for Spain, also for StruBIM shear walls. We have the Romanian code, this Romanian code for wind loads that was implemented in portal frame generator. Okay, so if you are working in Romania, you have this option now that portal frame generator you can introduce the window loads with that assistant of a portal frame generator. That is quite useful. If you are working with also portal frame generator regarding to the snow loads, it was implemented also the code. Okay, it's a different code. For Poland, we implemented also in portal frame generator the snow loads actions. We implemented the Eurocode, in this case, this generic Eurocode, also to snow loads, also to portal frame generator. Okay, so different codes that were implemented here in this area of structural analysis for different countries. So you can now check if in your version, if you start working with this version, you also have this these codes available. So I think this is a very important new feature, because one of the main advantages of working with CYPE is the code checking that is provided by the software. So it's not just a software to model or analyze the structure, but also to compare, to contrast the data from the analysis with the code, and codes check these designs. So that's maybe one of the main points of our software. Okay. Regarding to structures, there is another new feature that is available at StruBIM Rebar. Okay, so I'm jumping here from CYPECAD to StruBIM Rebar. Yes, this is StruBIM Rebar. I swear this is StruBIM Rebar. Although here you can see the same model that we have been looking here before at CYPE architecture. Actually, I choose the same model because I think it's nice to show how these softwares are integrated in the same system. So CYPE architecture, StruBIM Rebar. CYPE architecture, StruBIM Rebar. Okay, here StruBIM Rebar. It's how it works. So the softwares, they are all connected, and this is a good example of that. So this little house was designed at CYPE architecture, then the structure was analyzed at CYPECAD, and now I'm here in StruBIM Rebar to create all the details, or to manage all the steel rebar details of this reinforced concrete structure. So, for example, I will deactivate here the architectural model just to show you that behind it, or inside it, we have the structure created with CYPECAD. And if I deactivate the structure, we have the reinforced bars here, or the rebars are here. Okay, so these rebars, they were not manually modeled, they were generated from the analysis. When I decided to analyze this structure with CYPECAD, selecting a code, designing the geometry of my structure, and then I pressed the button analyze, this is one of the results that I have. So when I send information from CYPECAD to StruBIM Rebar, I can have all these details here. Okay, and it's quite nice because I can use this information also to check how the other disciplines are placed in my project. So here I have been, I left these pipes from CYPE plumbing activated just to see if I have any problem with the pipes in my structure. That could be very useful to inspect how our team is working. Okay, I can deactivate it. For example, I have here one option. I can deactivate the pipes, and then I have just the rebars that are now here available at StruBIM Rebar, which is the new feature that we have here at StruBIM Rebar. The first one is the interface is totally new. Okay, as you saw before, I can work in a 3D environment. I can also choose for a specific angle and work in 2D in a 2D environment. I can create different sections like these, or different views. For example, this one, or a 3D, for example. And I can also have here different layers of information that can come from different parts of the project: architectural model, structural model, or MEP. Or I can activate or deactivate different elements that are related to these rebars. So just I can deactivate just the different parts of the element. Another thing that is new here is that I can edit these elements. Okay, so I can click on each group of rebar. For example, if I select this, I don't know, this column or this bin, I can click it here and I can open this window and I can see this part of the project here. Okay, this detail. And for each part of this element, I can see, actually in this table, I can see the 3 types of elements that I have. So I have 3 bars, so 3 bars that have the reference P1, that are made with this kind of steel, have this diameter, and then have this size, 42.4 centimeters. Then I have, for example, 3 other bars that are different in this case, that are these bars with this detail, and then I have 16 different elements that are those elements that have this detail here. Okay, If I come back, for example, to another element, let's look for another beam like this one. Here it's quite similar. Let me see if, or this footing here, I have here another situation. Different elements with different details, different sizes, but here I can see all the details of these elements. I can select in the list, and I'll see highlighted here in the 3D model, and also the detail here in this sketch window. One thing that is quite nice here is that I can edit this information if I want. Almost always I will not need to do that, because the results provided by CYPECAD are very precise, although StruBIM rebar could be used also with other softwares that are not made by CYPE. So depending on the situation, maybe you must adjust these details, and if you want, you can change or add more elements. You can change the size of these elements. You can change the steel that was used, the diameter. You can add initial or final hooks. You can, for example, open your library of materials, add more types of steel, because actually what we are creating here is not just a drawing, it's not just a model, a 3D model of the rebars, but it's also a file that could be then exported to different formats. For example, we can export this information to IFC and use this model then in another software to consolidate the project, or we can export these rebars in BVBS, that is a specific format to send to manufacturers that just import these files to in their machines, and then all the rebars will be produced according to the model. So we will not have human actions to bend or cut these rebars, because this file provides all the information that is compatible with these machines, and the machines will do all the work. So the idea here is to consolidate the rebars from a project, from a BIM project, and then send this information to the industry to fabricate it. Okay. Another use of StruBIM rebar that is quite useful is you can export from different CYPE softwares, different projects. For example, you can have one part of your project created with CYPECAD, another one created, for example, with StruBIM box cuverts or StruBIM cantilever walls. They will be three or four or five different designs, 3 or 4 or 5 different parts of the structure. You can export everything to BIMserver.center, synchronize it, open it here at StruBIM rebar, and here you can consolidate all the rebars of the project. You can see everything together, and then you can also export your IFCs or your BVBSs. Okay. So the main new feature of StruBIM rebar, as I said before, is this new interface. There are not another new features like these options to edit or inspect the elements that were created, and there are new options here to quantify or visualize some geometry information. For example, we can measure the length of something here, or I don't know, or we can measure some areas, some angles, just to inspect something if we want. It's just a complementary tool that is available here. Is also available in different other softwares from CYPE. Okay, but as I said before, the main task that we'll do here is consolidate the rebars and then export it to IFC. Okay, to work with this option, there is also a module that is available. So you can contact your sales manager from your region or country, one of our resellers, to include this option to your CYPE if you want to use these options here. Okay. Of course, then you can also export it to BIMserver.center as any other software. And one thing that it would be nice here is export this information and then, for example, see it in augmented reality or virtual reality. You can put it on real scale, for example, go to the field, and maybe you already saw on social media those guys that share the digital version of the building with all the rebars in the construction field. So you can create that effect by exporting this information to BIMserver.center and then opening this file in your mobile app. Okay, the mobile app version of BIMserver.center. All right, so we saw I think the main features related to reinforced concrete structures are already shown, let's jump to steel structures. Okay, to steel structures, I've selected three or four of them. So the first one I would like to share with you, it's related to the to a specific new option that we have at CYPE Connect and StruBIM Steel. Okay, in both of them we have the same new features. I'm starting here with CYPE 3D. Okay, so here I have this warehouse that is created by two parts, and in these warehouses I have one specific section here. If this I describe one of these bars, for example, this bar here, you see that I have here not a simple section, but a simple section with haunches. Okay, the haunches are some reinforcements that we can create in the initial or in the final part of the bar, or in the top or in the bottom of this bar, to add more to have a better connection. Okay, so in this case, for example, this bar, I have this haunch here, and I have another one that was here in the end of the bar. Actually, if we go to the 3D, it's going to be easier to see. So let's jump to the 3D view, complete structure. Let me show you here. It's going to be easier to understand. So here we can see these haunches. This is the final one, and in the end of this bar we have a sorry, that was the start one, and this is the final one. And in the other bar, we have a similar situation, so we can create this effect. Okay, this is something that is available at CYPE 3D since a long time ago. It's not a new feature exactly, but the new feature is now, if I connect this project with BIMserver.center, and this is the option. Okay, here I have the name of the project, and here I can see my profile. When I export it to BIMserver.center, then I can open this structure at CYPE Connect or StruBIM Steel, and then keep modeling this structure to have a detailed model, or to analyze the connections of this structure. The new feature is that when I create this kind of connection where I have haunches, now I can export these haunches with all the forces, all the combinations, all the results of the analysis that are reaching in this node to CYPE Connect or to StruBIM Steel, and then keep working there. So now we can also export the haunches to CYPE Connect or StruBIM Steel. So let's create a new project here in StruBIM Steel. Although I will be creating in StruBIM Steel, although in CYPE Connect it will be quite the same situation. And let's import this model that I've previously exported from CYPE 3D to BIMserver.center. So I will select one of my projects. Here you can see that the environment, the BIMserver.center environment, is the same that we saw at CYPE Architecture. Let me filter by my projects, and I've created before one project that I called Warehouse. Okay, so it's the same that was created at CYPE 3D. Inside of this project, I just have one contribution. This contribution is called Structure. Okay, it was the structure analysis of the structure. And let's import this contribution to StruBIM Steel. Okay, so StruBIM Steel is importing the model, and here I can see that there are a lot of different profiles that were available, that were implemented or were modeled in CYPE 3D that are not available in my library at StruBIM Steel, but that I can import now, and then they will be available also at my StruBIM Steel library. Okay, so let me import it, and let's wait StruBIM Steel prepare the work environment, and we'll see the structure here at StruBIM Steel. Okay, so it was everything imported. Okay, quite well. Of course, it's everything with the same color. We don't have any tag yet, because we don't have any operation created here. We don't have nothing. We are just starting with this model. The idea here is to detail that, so we can create groups of elements, we can model our connections, then create our documents, and when we start, we have everything in the same color before we waiting to start the work. Okay, the point is that the haunches are here. Okay, so we can see that this section have the haunch here, and the same situation here. Okay, If now I create a new connection, for example, selecting this bar and this bar, let's see what happens. When I create it, actually I have here the haunches inside of my connection. Okay, let's adjust the size of our panels here. For example, here we can change the size of the section that we can see here in the connection. Let's put, for example, 1 meter here in the V1 and 1 meter in the V2. Then we can see that the haunches are available here. Of course, now we must start adding all the operations here to adjust the profiles, to add, I don't know, bolts or welds or plates. So we must create our connection here to have provide a real solution to this node. But this is not the point of this presentation. We have a lot of tutorials about that in our website. But the point is that now you can see the haunches here. It's available. Now you can detail this kind of structures too. Okay. There is a second new feature that is also related to CYPECAD or StruBIM still. Let me show you here in another example that I have. So this example here. Let me see here where I have that. Yeah, it's gonna be here. Let me show you. Let me open one of these base connection here, base plates. So I've been working in this base plate before. Let's open the modeler, the connection modeler, to see how this plate was created. So here I have a plate, and the new feature is related to these elements here. Okay, these anchors, we have new options to introduce different type of anchors. Okay, so if I click, if you create here an anchor operation, we will have this menu here. Okay, that was created before. Where let's try to open it because there is a lot of information to see in the same screen. But here we'll define a name to this plate. We can add different anchors, okay, with different positions here. In this case, I have 4, so four anchors in a plate. Then we can select. We can define how this plate will be connected to the section. Add more reinforcements like this. But the point is the type of anchors. Okay, so it's not new that we have here different types of anchors. Okay, the new feature that is inside of the option post installed anchors, we have a new type of mechanical or chemical anchor. Okay, so if I select this option here we have different options. I can select one element from that database that I have been talking before when we were at CYPECAD. So the OpenBIM database. If I click here, I can now log in to my account on OpenBIM database. That is for free. You don't have to pay for that. You just have to log in here. And once I'm logged, I can download the Word. That is the manufacturer that is working with us in this part of the software. So you can download the Word options, the Word catalog of mechanical or chemical anchors. So I just selected these anchors, and here I have a list of these anchors. I can accept it, and now they are available here. And I can select this specific anchor from the Word catalog to include in my base plate in this case. So I can get one that is a little bit bigger in this case here. Maybe this is too big, but I can select real anchors in this case. Okay, so we know that when we are talking about mechanical or chemical post-installed anchors, we must work with these catalogs, these products that are real. It's different from a simple bar or a simple a bolt that we can adapt or size it and then bend it and create a casting anchor. So here now you also have these vert anchors available at StruBIM Steel and CYPEConnect. Okay. Regarding to the softwares, we have another feature. Actually, we have more than one feature, but I will show one that I think it's quite interesting, that is related to the productivity that we can have when we create connections. Okay, so I will use here one example too. So let me show you one example here. For example, the idea is, let's suppose, for example, that I have to create this connection here. Okay, this connection is made by this pink bin, that green bin, and this blue column. Okay, it was created before. Okay, it's a very simple connection. Let's suppose it's already sized, it's already analyzed, it's perfect, and we can see that the connection was created because we can see this symbol, this parameter here, this purple parameter here, and if we click here, okay, we can open the CYPEConnect actually, okay, the modeler from CYPEConnect, and here we can see all the operations that were necessary to model this connection. Okay, one thing that is not new, but maybe some of you don't know yet, it's the option that we have to export this list of operations. It means the steps that were necessary to model this connection to connections library. So if I click here, I can add a name for that. Let's suppose this is my connection, okay, or my connection. I will put it like this, corner, or my connection. I will add a name to this list of operations, or to this connection, and it will be exported to my library. If I click here, I can navigate in the list of different connections that I have been creating before, for different types of sections, different types of structures with different dimensions, okay, different number of bars, and I can see that my connection is created here. Okay, this is not new. Okay, I'm just introducing the new feature. Okay, but maybe for some of you this is new because maybe you are starting with the software now. The idea is, if I have a similar node in another part of my structure, then I will just open this 3D this space to model the connection, and then import from the library one connection that is similar. Okay, this is the context. All right, this is already done. Maybe it's analyzed. We also have our documents. We maybe must go to another connection. Okay, so let's imagine that then the next connection is not exactly the same connection. It's similar, but maybe we can have different data, or a different scenario. For example, this guy here. Okay, this guy here, it's quite similar, but we have in this case one pin in the other side. So we have this one, the pink one, and the blue one. Okay, or it's the same situation that we have here. Okay, or maybe in the other side. Okay, here, this one, for example, is not modeled yet. We can see that the node was generated, but we cannot see the details of the plates or the welds. It's not modeled yet. It's just the node that is available here, waiting to receive a model. Okay, so if I edit this guy, I don't have this connection, exactly this connection in my library yet. We have something similar, but we don't have this connection yet. Okay, the new feature is that I can use part of the operations that were created to a similar connection to start working in a different connection. This is the new feature that we implemented here in this version. Okay, so let's use that other connection that we've created before to create this one that is a little bit more complex. Okay, so I will import something here. As you can see, the list of operations here it's empty. Okay, so I will import one of the connections that I have. In this list, I can see some of the connections that have this green check symbol. If I deactivate this option, I can also see some of them that have this red symbol. Okay, what it means, If there is a red symbol, it means it's impossible to use the information from this connection to the connection you are trying to use because it's too different. Okay, so don't try it because it's going to be impossible. We are talking about geometries totally different with much more elements. If you mark this option, you have the green options with elements that could be useful to your connection, but you must use it with attention. Okay, in that case, we created that connection that was my connection. So we have this situation. Okay, let's use it. I will accept, and the software will open this option here. So in one side, I have the connection that is in my library. Okay, so I can see here, library. Okay, this connection, the elements of this connection, they are also here in this list. In the library, we have V1, P2, and P1. Okay, V1, V2, and P1. And then in this side, I have the node or the connection that is in my model. So here I have the node. In this case, here in this case, we have one more bar. Okay, no problem. What I will start doing is I will select the V1 of my library, and I will assign the V1 to my library to the V1 of my model. So the V1 of my library is the V1 of my node. The V2 of my library is going to be the V3 of my node. So the V2 is going to be the V3. Okay, and the P1 will still be the P1. So P1, it's P1. Okay, so with this assign, I'm trying to get these plates, these bolts, these welds, and put in the same position that I have in this part of my library in this node. But of course, it will be missing the parts related to the V2. Then we can do another time the same situation and try to get also the information to V2. Don't worry about that. So let's accept, and let's see what happens. The first thing that I can see that some operations were created, and these operations adjusted the profiles, add the plates, the bolts, the welds to V1, V3, and P1. So part of our model, it's already created, and we are using information from a different connection. Okay, it wasn't the same connection. Let's keep going. So let's now try to do the same situation to the other part. Okay, of course, part of these elements are common. So actually this part in the middle related to the V3, if we import exactly the same connection again, they will be duplicated. But there is not a problem because then we can add or delete or edit operations. And I'm sure that's going to be much easier to use some operations that were created before than create everything again, adding detail by detail. Okay, so let's import again. I will import in this case the same connection again, no problem. Okay, and I will mark this option here, keep previously defined operations. What it means, if I not mark this one, all the operations that I've introduced before, they will be deleted and new operations will be created. So actually what we will have, it's going to be not the left side of my connection, but just the right side. What I want to do is to merge both sides. Okay, so to merge operations or to accumulate the list of operations, I must maintain this option selected. Okay, so I will do that. And in this case, I will use the same situation. I will put my library like this and my library like this. Okay, so let's check here. V1 of my library, in this case, it's not the V1 of my node because this is already done. So this is going to be the V2. V2 of my library, it's going to be the V3 of my model. So this line is correct. And P1 is still with the P1. So it's correct. So let's accept. And let's see what happened. Boom. Here we have these elements created here in the V2 part, no, the V2 bar in this connection. We have some problems here, some clashes, because when we introduced the second action or the second part or the second time, part of the elements of V3 were also introduced again. So probably we have here some elements that are duplicated, like the bolts are they are two actions or two operations of introducing bolts, or two adjustments of the V3 or 2 adjustments of the plate, or 2 plates in the same place, or 2 section trims in this case. So some of these operations were not needed because they were too much. But as you saw before, with just some clicks, I deleted the operations that were not necessary, and I transformed one connection that was created with 2 bins in a connection with 3 bins with just some clicks. Okay, so that's very useful. That's going to increase your productivity because you don't have to create this node again, or this connection again, step by step. Of course, that from this point you can export this is as a new connection. So my new connection 2, for example, and it's going to be available now in your library, and then you can keep using this connection in different parts of your project. Okay, I hope this example was easy to understand, but the main idea of this new feature is that you can use operations of other connections that were already created and that are available in your library, and then adapt it according to the need of your connection. One thing that is quite nice is that some of these options can be applied to different type of sections. So depending on how you created your section, maybe you have a totally different type of section, and you can also use this option to try to get part of the operations. Okay, especially when we are talking about welded connections. So maybe you can try it with different type of sections. Of course, it depends on the complexity of these connections, but in most cases you can use part of the operations, and it's going to be easier to work like that. Okay. Yeah, let's just accept it, and the model is going to be loaded here in our node. The sections will be adjusted, and we have one more connection, and that is part of our project available here in our model. And like this, we will do with others, and then export our model, detailed model. Okay. All right, so yeah, I think we saw the main features related to steel structure. Let me just come back here to our list. Let's just take a look in other features related to structures before we go to MEP. For example, here in concrete structures, we have been talking about different codes, but we also have here, let's open like CYPECAD here. We saw the ramps. Look how nice is this ramp that was created. Now you know how to create it. It's very easy. We saw also the studs a little bit. We saw we talk about the new codes, but we have other features like new options to a new assembly options in the portal frame editor. You can change the way the reinforcements are generated. We have here options to extend the reinforcements in the end of these portal frames. We have a new option to introduce information or introduce the geometry with polar coordinates, and so this is very asked. So a lot of users have been asking about this option. And there are other improvements in corrections. Here you can see there is a list of options just related to CYPECAD. I will share this option also here, just this link. If you want to take a look in the chat, you can also read a little bit more about these improvements. Regarding to steel, we saw the haunches. Look at this detail, how nice it is. We could keep doing our work with that example we started and reach something like that. Then we also saw the Wurf anchors. We saw the connections improvements in this part of the library, and we also we don't see this part. That is some new information that is available to the tags. So when you click in plates, welds, and bolts, you can have more information to then add to your drawings, for example. Maybe this is easy to consult here in the list. And another feature that was not showed here is the option that you can export the drawings created in StruBIM Steel also to BIMserver.center. So you can select the sheets, the drawings that you've created, export it to BIMserver.center. Maybe you want to share with someone that is working with you in the same project. Now you have this option. It's something that is available. It's similar in Open BIM layout, for example. You can also export the sheets to the cloud. Okay. All right, so I think we saw the main features related to structures. Let's jump to MEP, for example. Let's start with plumbing. Okay, so we have one new version of CYPELEC sanitary systems. Okay, CYPELEC sanitary systems have a new interface. Okay, again, you can see the same house that we have been working at StruBIM rebar at CYPE architecture, and I have been working with the sanitary systems here at CYPE plumbing. Okay, so the main new feature of CYPE plumbing in this case is the new interface with this 3D environment, where you can also work with different views, and you can work in 3D. You can also activate and deactivate the other models that you imported before. Again, here you can see the structure and the rebars created with the other softwares. Now you can see that everything converges to the same place. Every professional can work with their own software, looking from their own perspective. And now, for example, if I am the plumbing engineer, I can now decide how I will include my pipes here, because I know where the structure is or where the architecture is. So now I think you can understand. You can see the same buttons here. You can see the same options here. So the same interface. Okay. Once you start working with one software, one CYPE software, then it's going to be easier to learn the others. Okay. In this case, let me deactivate the architectural model, the structural model. Here you can see, let's also deactivate the terrain, for example. I think I have here terrain, and I have here some pipes. I have also some electrical mechanisms. Let me deactivate that. I have two types of pipes here. I have those that are in green color that were created here inside plumbing sanitary systems. So we are talking about wastewater or rainwater, okay? And then we also have those that are red and blue, and they are the water systems. They are the water that is for human consumption, or for example hot water. So we have two softwares to design these two parts of the plumbing installation. One for hot water and cold water, and another one for wastewater and rainwater. Okay, in this case we are talking about sanitary systems. CYPE plumbing water systems already have a 3D environment, or this new interface that I'm showing now for sanitary systems. So now you can work with both of them in the same system. Okay. Here in this part of the section, you can see this contour, these lines. They represent the spaces that were imported from the model, the architectural model. Of course, we can also activate just the spaces, or for example, just the furniture like this from the BIM model, okay? But you can also have this projection of the spaces in the floor, and we can also activate and deactivate these spaces. Let me see here where it was, but it's somewhere here. The spaces, so we can work with a cleaner interface, okay? If I deactivate, for example, the part of the model that came from CYPE plumbing water systems, it's going to be somewhere here, architectural model, structures, this one, I will remain just with the parts of this installation that were created here at sanitary systems, okay? There are a lot of new features here, but let me show you just some basic options of modeling here. The first thing that you can now model in 3D. So before it was just in a 2D view, it's going to be much easier to connect elements in a 3D environment. So for example, let me delete this piece, for example, here. Okay, just let's introduce again this part of the plumbing facility. So to introduce a pipe here, it's gonna just have to use this pipe option. I will select one of the pipes that I've loaded before according to the code that I selected. There are, in this case, different types of code pipes that I've already loaded. I don't know which one is this. I will take one of them, and then I will just define if I want to introduce this piece of pipe, defining a specific slope, for example, a fixed slope. If I use this option, I just have to add the pipe from one point to another, and according to this value, the slope will be introduced. I can select this option by a slope that is conditioned by a previous element. It means if I start connecting this new piece of pipe from this one, for example, the slope of this one will be extended. So the pipe will be extended with the same slope to the new section, or for example, without restriction. But then I must know exactly the points that I will be connecting. Okay. I also can work with these options here. If I'm working with the 2D mode, basically I will be using one of the levels, one of the views that are created here, okay, the floors, and then applying different displacements to this view, okay, this level. Or I can work totally in 3D by clicking in this option. In my opinion, I prefer to work totally free without restrictions and totally in 3D. But that's very personal. Each professional works in a different way. So I really like to work in the 3D model and without restriction. And then, for example, I can click in this point, and the second point is to be totally free. And for example, I can click here. Let's find, for example, one point here that is in the middle of our, maybe our snap is not activated. Yes, it's not activated. Yeah, here, for example, and the pipe will be introduced. Okay. Two details that we must know here that are very important. The first thing is, as I started introducing the first point here and the second point here, this arrow indicates the direction of the flow. Okay, in this case, we are talking about pipes that work by gravity. So it's very important to know the direction. So if we are working with slopes, we must be sure that the slope is in the direction of the flow. So I've been introducing from here to here, but as you can see, if I zoom out in my installation, probably the water is coming from the upper level and coming in this direction until this end point. And I've introduced this pipe in the wrong direction. So if I do like this, the key is going to be in that direction. If I do like this, the key is going to be in the other direction. Okay. Let me delete this part. But I have here one option that is, let me find it, that can be used, this one, okay, to change the flow direction. Okay, so I can click here and it's going to be changed. Very easy. We can also see that when I connected this pipe that was here to that box, we can see now the slope 0.69%. Okay, so the software will represent this information to us. It's very useful. One thing that I can do now is to analyze it, and the software will size this pipe. Okay, probably I selected one type of pipe that is not correct to this part. I don't remember actually the type of pipe that I should add here, but there is another feature that is quite useful. That is this one here, assigned the same characteristics of one pipe to another. So I can select, for example, the criteria or dimensions of this pipe and apply to this guy. Okay, and then I can check it and see if it's everything okay. And now, yeah, it's everything okay. Okay, so it's very easy to model here. I will not explain everything about site plumbing. We have other seminars showing how it works, especially that parts related to the general options of the software that are the same, so the software doesn't change it in this part. And in the next few weeks, we will also be doing some seminars related to this new interface, although we also have something related to CYPE plumbing water systems that is quite similar, that is already available in our video gallery. Okay. One new feature that is here that I think it's quite nice, it's also here in the general options. As we saw before, the PEICO studs at CYPECAD and the VURT anchors in StruBIM steel. We also have here at CYPE Plumbing some new catalogs of materials. For example, here in the pipes, we have now 3 different manufacturers that now introduced their materials in our software. So these brands now, different professionals from different parts of the world can now design their plumbing installations using the products of these 3 brands, okay, Molecor, Terrain, and Aliaxis, okay. And since the beginning of the software, since the first moment that the software was launched, we always had the chance to create our own pipes, our own accessories of the installation. But now you can also, for example, log into the OpenBIM database. It's the same login, and for example, select one of these brands, and the pipes of this brand will be loaded to the library of CYPE Plumbing. This happens with different parts. For example, we saw with pipes, but here in these inspection boxes, it's quite similar. So here we have Aliaxis, and if I remember here too, this longitudinal drain catalog, so we can also select it, and more elements that they are real elements for a manufacturer catalog, so you can work with it. Okay, of course, then you can edit this information, you can add or quit diameters, or change information, or duplicate it. Okay, although probably you use the real element because then it's going to be easier to find it in the market and then construct your building. Okay. All right, so CYPE Plumbing Sanitary Systems, we saw a little bit this new interface. Let me see more information that we have for MEP. Let me jump to CYPE HVAC, CYPE HVAC hydronics in this case. Okay, so we are talking about air conditioning. I have it here, CYPE HVAC hydronics. Unfortunately, in this case, it's not the same building. I'm sorry, I didn't have that time to design the air conditioning system of that house. Maybe in a future example, we will see also that little building. But here I have a pretty nice one, pretty good one that is also available in the CYPE architecture examples. That is this unifamiliar house, and in this software we have the same situation, a 3D interface, a new 3D interface. Actually, this interface was launched in the past version, actually 2 or 3 months ago. But you can work in the same way. So I can, for example, deactivate the architecture, and I can see here the HVAC system. Okay. In this case, we are talking about the systems related to the hydronic systems. Okay, CYPE HVAC hydronics. We are not designing the radiant floor system, although here you can see the radiant floor because they are synchronized. So there is CYPE HVAC hydronics and CYPE HVAC radiant floor. In this case, we are talking about hydronics. So I can deactivate the radiant floor, for example, and then we have here just those elements that were designed here at CYPE HVAC hydronics. The main new feature that I would like to show to you in this version of CYPE HVAC hydronics is it's one feature related to the calculation option. So when we calculate it, we design it, okay, the software will size the elements here, and we have one very interesting way to see the results. these colors that you see here to the pipes, they are related to the type of pipe you introduce it. If it's a cooling, a heating, a supply, an internal, a return, an external pipe, okay, a design condition. But if you use this option here after calculating the project, you can have a kind of graphical analysis of these results. For example, if I activate the graphical analysis, I could see, for example, the flow in each pipe or in each section of these pipes in a different color according to the flow. For example, let's activate it. And here I can see, for example, this bar. So the flow, it's in liters per hour, parting from 69 to 244. And I can see that in the different pipes in my building, okay? So here near the unit, we can see that the flow is much higher as was expected, okay? But there are other type of results that we can do the same. For example, the velocity. Let's activate the velocity, and we can see the velocity by colors. So here we can see that the velocity starts in 0.11 and finish, and the maximum is at 0.86 meters per second. We can also filter that. For example, I would like to see all the elements that have a maximum of I don't know, 0.5, for example. Okay, everything that is more than 0.5 and it's between 0.1 and 0.5, I can see that. So I will see the colors a little bit according to the maximum that I defined here. Okay, and we'll have the same situation for thermal insulation thickness, linear heat flow, hot water temperature, cold water temperature, and that's a very nice result that can help us to decide when we are designing which is the best solution, the best layout for our installation. So yeah, this is now also available here at CYPE HVAC Hydronics. This information was available at CYPE Plumbing Sanitary Systems and CYPE Plumbing Water Systems before, and now here we have also in the hydronics discipline. Okay. All right, we are almost finishing. I promise we are almost finishing. We saw plumbing, hydronics. Let me jump to a last software in this area of MEP. It's CYPELEC PV Systems, photovoltaic systems. Okay, actually, this is the software that have more new features in this version. Okay, there is a huge list of new features just for CYPELEC PV Systems on 2024A version. Actually, just introducing the software, the software is used to design the photovoltaic systems of our building. So you can connect this software with other softwares to then calculate all the electrical installation of the building. But in this part, you can design, analyze the photovoltaic installation, creating a model, and then having designing this single line schemes, and also have different type of results like reports, the drawings, the view of quantities of this system. You can also integrate this this part of the project, exporting one IFC to BIMserver.center. Okay. As I said before, I will not show all the features here. Let me just list it here because CYPELEC PV Systems have this huge list of new features. The first thing, it's now available in different languages, so also in English, in French, in Portuguese, Spanish, and Catalan. So the first thing is now available for more countries. Then we have new elements like hybrid inverters, modular batteries, distribution panels, extended pre-designed analysis. So now you can pre-design your installation according to this kind of graphical analysis. So you have a new assistant to that. We have introduced the new string concept. Here we have options to select the solar panel layout, if it's horizontal or vertical. The modeling is now optimized. We now can generate the shades from the solar panels between them. Okay, so there is a list of new features here. unfortunately, we don't have to see everything here, but I invite you to this let me show you here, to one of our seminars. As I said here before, in the courses presentation schedule, we have one seminar that is specific for electrical installations in the next days. It's gonna be somewhere here. Let me see. Optimize the design of your electrical systems with CYPELEC suite. As you can see here, the photovoltaic systems are also here. So I will share with you the link of this presentation in the chat, and then you can register. And I'm sure during this presentation we'll see more details about CYPELEC with more details. Okay. All right. I think, yeah, we have almost 2 hours of presentation. We saw just a little part of this huge new version, but yeah, I think it's enough for today. It's too many information. I hope it was good for you. I hope you learned a little bit about our software. I hope these features, I hope you start working with this new version, using these features in your daily work. Okay. Thank you very much if you are here until this moment, until the end of the presentation. Thank you if you are watching this presentation on YouTube. It was a pleasure to be here with you, sharing these new features, and I hope to see you in a next time. See you.